Welcome to Prime 9, the countdown show that covers the very best in baseball. Guaranteed to start arguments not end. This episode features the pitchers with the 9 greatest changeups. Why 9? That's baseball. 9 players, 9 innings, Prime 9. The great Warren Spahn once said that hitting is all about timing, and pitching is about disrupting that timing. And nothing throws off a hitter who is zoned in on a blazing fastball better than the changeup.
There it is. There it is. That's a great change. Oh, it's marvelous.
Pull the string when the batter least expects it, and you can make him look foolish.
It's going to make him look sloppy on this one.
For some pitchers, the changeup is their #1 weapon.
And finishes him with it.
Others hide it in their arsenal and bring it out just a handful of times a game.
So he knows he's going to get it, he just doesn't know when.
The men you're about to meet not only utilize the changeup to perfection, they flourished because of it.
He does it better.
So here we go with the top 9 changeups, starting with number 9 on Prime 9.
We should get a call, okay? We're out here in relationship to the field. This is our route, okay, guys? We don't want to get lost and embarrass ourselves.
Doug Jones, he was more happy-go-lucky out there on the mound.
But the hitters he faced for 16 seasons were not so happy, mostly because of his changeup.
Good changeup, and Jonesy got him.
He had the Bugs Bunny change, as we would call it. It was ridiculous.
After 4 games in 1982, Doug didn't make it back to the major leagues until '86, when he resurfaced in Cleveland, determined to succeed.
At that point, though, I was just beginning to develop what I've got now as far as a repertoire, the fastball and changeup, and I thought I had something, so I didn't want to give up on it that quick.
Got him! Doug Jones for the second straight night slams the door.
Doug went on to become a 5-time All-Star and had a phenomenal 1.85 ERA in 1992. And his secret was to change the speed on most every pitch.
As long as they know what's coming, it's okay.
Fastball, strike 2.
As long as they don't know how fast it's coming.
2-strike pitch to Pena. Got him!
I have a pitch that you know it's coming, you still can't hit it because it has such good action and deception on it.
Strike 3. Struck him out.
Jones finished his career with 303 saves, leaving many a hitter wondering why, if they saw it, they couldn't hit it.
Oh, that's tough to hear there. Pitches away, it's moving.
That was his Bugs Bunny pitch. It was just a devastating pitch. I mean, it looks just like the fastball, and you're up there and you know it's coming.
And because of the previous pitch, he goes down again.
When you know it's coming and you still can't get it, all you can do is tip your hat and just say, hey, you got me today.
A good job by the 30-year-old veteran, Doug Jones.
Most pitchers don't pitch close to a quarter century in the major leagues for 7 different teams. But Jamie Moyer discovered a fountain of youth when his comrades in arms were calling it a day.
He had an early career with Chicago and some other organizations, had to go to the minor leagues, and then has come back and since age 35 has had more success than he did prior to that.
He's been doing this for the last 10 years.
What he's been doing is making hitters see double by changing speeds on his changeup.
Got him on a change.
Every pitch that came out of Moyer's hand looked like a great pitch to hit, but it was that changeup that kept getting slower and slower and slower. Yeah, he had the best changeup, I think.
Boy, what a change. Unbelievable changeup.
Jamie Moyer could tell you it's coming and you could still be on your front foot fooled.
Out in front of the changeup once again.
Consider that Jamie won 233 games after he turned 30, and almost half of them after he turned 40. Satchel Paige would have been proud.
Got him on the outside corner, and that's the same story.
Jamie has developed over the years as a very good pitcher. He understood what he could do. He wasn't that guy that was going to light up the radar gun throwing 95, 96. So he had to really pitch.
My changeup grip is this. I would like to say it's simple. I put my 3 fingers on top, my middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, what I would call on top of the ball. And underneath I have my thumb, as if I was holding a fastball, and I take my pointer finger and I wrap it over the outside of my thumb. Not being blessed with some of the velocity that some of these guys have in the game, I've learned that location is important. Location with my fastball, but location with my changeup.
That changeup and wisdom beyond his years kept Jamie pitching deep into his 40s.
Jamie Moyer is just a great example of someone who still has enough kid in him to play the game of baseball.
Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the game's best changeups. We've made our pitch for 9 and 8, which means it's time for number 7. John Franco approached his job with a great deal of courage and a most effective changeup.
A 1-2 pitch to Milligan, swung on and missed, strike 3.
John had guts to go out there with that pitch and not a whole lot of velocity, and not just survive, but prosper.
John Franco picks up the save.
Playing behind Johnny Franco, I had an opportunity to see the changeup come in and see the reaction of the players.
Struck him out, and this game is over.
Johnny Franco didn't really throw extremely hard. What Johnny Franco was a bulldog.
And it's over as Ozzie Smith strikes out.
Franco's circle change was okay by him.
Circle change is just do the okay and put your 2 fingers right on the seams and put your pressure on your middle finger. And I would just throw it as think fastball all the way, all the way. The rotation of the ball would be similar to this, like a screwball, going away from a right-handed hitter and sinking down into a lefty. Once I learned the changeup, that brought me to the next level.
That level is a place no other left-handed pitcher has ever reached, and Franco's changeup was his ticket to ride.
He struck him out. He struck him out. 400 saves for John Franco.
That was John Franco's signature pitch, and I think what made John Franco so tough, he was better against right-handed hitters than left-handers.
Rita swings at it. Clemens will have to make the throw, and the ball game's over.
He used it more as a strikeout pitch, as opposed to a pitch that he wanted guys to put in play.
Baby in the books. Mets win.
He was one of the few left-handers that would throw changeups to lefties. It was that good.
And it's strike 3 called.
Throughout history, fireballs have been the go-to pitch for many a fireman. But Franco doused the flames in his own special way.
There's really no difference in if you throw 95 or 85, as long as you get the job done.
John Franco gets the job done.
There's a certain rhythm to Johan Santana's changeup, the kind that leaves hitters dancing at the plate.
Johan Santana. You have the chance to make double swing, and the ball not even gonna be at the plate.
He struck him out.
He could throw it at any count, and hitters have a hard time seeing it.
2-2. Changeup struck him out.
Santana first perfected his change when he pitched for Minnesota.
When he was with the Twins, we faced him a lot, and his arm speed is the same on the fastball as it is on the changeup.
How good was his changeup? Well, his teammates came up with all kinds of names for it.
We call it the cartoon changeup. It's pretty nasty.
Changeup. He struck him out for 2.
We call him yo-yo. He's got that effect. He looks just like a fastball, and it looks like he pulled a string back.
There it is. Great changeup.
Santana could say one thing about his major league debut in 2000.
Hey, I struck out Jose Canseco for my first major league strikeout.
Since then, he's won 2 Cy Young Awards, and his 2006 campaign was off the charts.
4 strikeouts in the first 2 innings for Santana.
Through the 2010 season, Johan led his league in strikeouts, ERA, and strikeouts per 9 innings 3 times.
Hey, struck him out.
Really the first left-hander who had a dominating changeup. There's been some good right-handers, but you don't normally see that from a lefty.
There's a strike. And Eric Chavez is out on strikes.
There's a lot to like about Santana's game, and his changeup is at the top of that list.
And he struck him out. You know, his arm action is the same. Nothing changes about it. He doesn't give anything away that says, hey, he's throwing a changeup here. And that's what I think, you know, why he's one of the best pitchers in the game.
Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the game's best changeups. The witty Doug Jones came in 9th, followed by the ageless Jamie Moyer. Next came Met number 1, John Franco, and number 2, Johan Santana. So now we turn to number 5.
Eddie Lopez could throw a fastball, hit you in the chest, and it wouldn't hurt you. That's how soft he threw.
Lopez is the sort of fellow that doesn't numb you or jar you or overpower you. He's just like a fellow with a little sharp knife. Just walks around and takes a nick here and a nick there.
Eddie was a huge part of the Yankee success in the 1950s, thanks to his ability to keep hitters guessing with an off-speed approach.
He was tough to hit. He changed speeds. He had phenomenal control. I mean, he rarely walked anyone.
Lopez, stocky left-hander. Cock swings at a sharp curve.
He was regarded as a junk pitcher.
You throw about any sort of pitch you can name.
He had all sorts of different change of speeds, and he threw a knuckleball every now and then.
Hamansky swings, misses, and it is strike 3.
Every time a hitter swung, they were right on it, but all you got was fly balls, and he even struck out a few people.
Swung and missed, strike 3.
He throws such junk up there, they swing at everything.
What aided Lopat's effectiveness was the fact that he disguised his pitches with a pitcher-perfect motion.
It wasn't so much the speed of the ball, it was the speed of his arm. And he had a movement with the arm that just drive you wild with hitters.
Lopez nibbles and needles you to death.
He had a good sinking fastball, never got it up there over 84, 85.
With his changeup that he threw, when he threw his fastball, I doubt if he could only throw about 75 miles an hour.
Thanks in part to Eddie's soft toss approach, the Yankees were able to win 5 straight championships.
He was always pitching 6, 7, 8 innings and didn't have to throw a lot of pitches, so he always kept the club in the game.
How exactly did Tom Glavine win 305 career games?
When you take a look at that kind of competitor that was not a premier strikeout pitcher, Tommy was really just a master of the true art of pitching.
Tommy had to do it strictly with location and change of speeds.
And in time, one pitch became his trademark.
Along the way, he developed one of the best changeups in the game. And what made the changeup great for Tommy was that it wasn't so much different than his fastball.
Inside corner for strike 3. Glavine pinned it.
You couldn't tell any difference between his fastball and his changeup as far as arm action. He had about a 7-8 mile an hour separation.
Got him. Took a little off again.
As soon as you would start crowding the plate a little bit, trying to get out there on that fastball, he may drop a changeup on you.
Got him. Again, inside.
Next thing you know, by the 3rd inning, the plate's like 2 sizes. And guys were chasing his changeup, and he had him.
Tom Glavine with a brilliant 3-hit shutout.
Few things befuddle hitters more than a changeup on the corner, and Glavine was a master at living on the edge.
Tommy Glavine was somebody who would never, ever give in. And, of course, he had the great changeup. And when you have that great changeup, you're never out of the count.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Got it.
He always kept it away. He was able to pinpoint on the outside corner to right-handed hitters.
Well, he's out of there on 3 pitches against Glavine.
It was just amazing how he consistently put it where he wanted to put it.
Oh, that's a good pitch.
Strike 3 calls. He came inside.
That was Tommy Glavine. He didn't knock you down. He didn't scare you with his stuff, but he gave you the 0 for 4, and you felt pretty good about it.
Tom won 2 Cy Young Awards in his career. Too bad there wasn't a prize for changeups.
Tom Glavine always came out either number 1 or number 2 in the National League for having the best changeup year after year after year. And when you've got all those great hitters telling you that, that's got to mean that it was one of the best ever.
There aren't many pitchers in baseball history better than Pedro Martinez, and his formula for success was his ability to do it all.
You have 3 ways that you can attack a hitter: in and out, up and down, and back and forth by changing speeds. Pedro mastered all 3 of those elements.
Velocity's only one thing you have to work with: control and movement. And Pedro has terrific movement.
Pedro possessed a devastating combination of heat.
And ball blown away, 95 miles
one of the best changeups the game has ever seen.
The guy throwing 95 to 98 miles an hour with a changeup that stops.
Struck him out on a changeup. Took something off that one.
He's going to make any player look like a fool.
His control has just been magnificent. One of the things that Pedro does so extremely well is change his speeds.
Incredibly deceptive. I've never seen hitters guess as much against a pitcher as they did against Pedro.
He knows he's going to get it, he just doesn't know when.
His fastball and his changeup were really hard to separate and distinguish because the arm speed was almost identical for both of them.
He loves to manipulate the corners of the strike zone and change your eye levels.
When he threw that Bugs Bunny changeup, you see a lot of ball and it looks big and it looks right down the heart of the plate and you're like, oh, he made a mistake with the fastball. Oh, it's the changeup.
Pedro's changeup helped him win 3 Cy Youngs in 4 years and post the lowest ERA by an AL starter in the designated hitter era.
Pedro Martinez changeup when he was with Boston was about as devastating a pitch as you're going to see.
Strike 3 called. He got him looking.
It was rotation of it. You could almost hear it coming in, like zzz.
He would throw it, you know, at the left-hander's hip and get it to come back.
Doesn't make it any easier to hit knowing how he throws it.
You could take 2 swings at it because you were coming out of your shoes.
Swing and a miss and a changeup. He got him.
Great pitchers are like that. You know, they're not going to give you a lot to hit, and Pedro was certainly one of those guys.
Pedro finished his career with 5 ERA titles and an ERA plus of 154, the highest all time for a starting pitcher.
All I know is the years that I spent, this is the most dominant period of time by one pitcher that I have ever seen.
We now return to Prime 9, where in this episode, we're featuring the best changeups of all time. The pitchers in this show fully understood that by keeping hitters guessing, you could keep them off the base paths, and they were masters of their craft. So which of these men do we credit with the best changeups of all time? Let's find out, beginning with number 2. The year was 1958, and Giants righty Stu Miller was a compelling force, starting and relieving while leading his league in ERA. But come the 1960s, Stu found a full-time home in the bullpen.
Stu Miller, a right-hander, coming on to do the pitching.
As a relief pitcher, when a hitter's getting one look a game at him, it was very difficult to adjust to.
You see, Stu had a magical motion that made it appear you were getting a fastball. But no.
They used to say, you wait, you wait, you wait, and you still couldn't wait long enough.
Sometimes you just can't hold that bat back long enough.
He gave you the appearance that he was throwing the ball so hard, he put all his effort into it, and it just floated up there.
He throws slow, slow, and then slower.
Stu Miller changeup had a lot to do with his action towards home plate.
He throw his hands, his head, and the ball looked like a stop halfway.
His head motion made the changeup even better because you hit off the head and not what the ball was.
With heavier bats and not as much power, guys could get the bat on it, but they couldn't center it and hit it very hard.
Knowing the change was coming, the hitters would adjust, and that's when Miller would sneak one by them.
Everybody says he was a slow ball pitcher, but he had enough fastball he could beat you if he caught you looking or trying to cheat on it.
He threw the fastball, looked like he was throwing 210 miles an hour. To me, it was the greatest. It was the best changeup I ever seen in the big leagues.
Our number 1 changeup was so good, it came with a warning.
In the 9th inning, you're down on the scoreboard, and here comes Hell's Bells.
Here are the bells. Here comes Trevor Hoffman.
But not even a ringing notice helped batters against this historically good pitcher and his game-changing pitch.
And there it is, Trevor Hoffman, number 600.
Trevor's road to becoming the all-time saves leader took a turn in the mid-90s.
At some point, he had some arm trouble, and his velocity started to decrease. So he came up with another pitch that ultimately will take him to the Hall of Fame.
The changeup for me is a palm ball grip that allows me to have the same arm speed as my fastball, and ultimately the ball doesn't get there.
to try to hit a fastball regardless of the velocity.
Trevor's fastball now comes in around 87, 88 miles per hour.
And to back it up with a changeup that's like 12 miles an hour or slower is just so difficult to do.
Devastating changeup. Looks like a pure fastball. It just never seems to get there.
Trevor's changeup was called the Bugs Bunny changeup because it was like he would throw it, and then right before he got to home plate, he would just like yank back on a string and just start pulling the string, and you really had no chance to even get a piece of it.
And the changeup is so good that I think if he even cupped his hand to his mouth and yelled, "I'm going to throw a changeup," they still couldn't hit it.
You would just shake your head as you're coming back to the dugout, wondering, how did I not get a hit off him? But he was one of those guys that just did that to you on a consistent basis.
Trevor's hit-defying changeup helped him compile more 40-save seasons than anyone.
Changeup swung on a miss and the ball game is over. Trevor Hoffman does it again.
There was no way to tell when he was changing speeds. There was nothing that he gave away. There was nothing that he slowed down. There was nothing that he tipped off.
Struck him out, and that's the ball game. Nobody does it better.
It's such an advantage for Trevor to have, because if that's the pitch you're looking for, if that's the pitch you're going to try to hit, he's got you right in the palm of his hand.
A 2.87 ERA in almost 2 decades of baseball, and he's done it mainly with 2 pitches.
Even given some arm trouble, to still be dominant just goes to show you can throw 95 and not get anybody out. Trevor Hoffman throws 83 with a good changeup, and he's unhittable.
A good changeup is usually more than a few miles per hour slower than a pitcher's fastball.
Got him!
But throughout the years, we have witnessed some changeups that were so extreme they commanded a name all their own, like the spaceball, thrown appropriately by the spaceman, Bill Lee. Lee had a lot of fun with this pitch. Sometimes it worked.
Strike to Perez.
Sometimes it was sent into orbit. Dave LaRoche became known for throwing La Lob. And of course, there was Rip Sewell's legendary Ephus pitch, which he threw to Ted Williams in the '46 All-Star game with dire consequences.
Ted stepped into it and slammed it out of the park.
None of these famous changeups qualified for this show, but the fact that we're still talking about them today is testament to their timeless legacy. And as we've come to learn about changeups, timing is everything. That's our Prime 9. What's yours?